What's going on with the stock market? It's soaring. Let's have a look at a deeper dive on that. I've drawn a channel on the S&P 500. You can see some of the big returns that we've had. That's 117% over 3 years, 10 months. That's a lot faster than the normal rate of growth of the S&P 500. If you take normal, the average annual rate over the past 15 years. So what's going on? What's the direction? What might happen next? Let's cover all of that in a bit more depth, and also touch upon some of the things we're telling our clients on the Great Investments Program. So having drawn that broad channel, you can see that I can make a relatively straightforward bear case, maybe a 4% drop over the next 4 months. What would a 10% drop look like? Which is, of course, feasible. If we look at what 10% looks like, it on a chart looks barely noticeable. It just takes you back to a support level over there. Is it likely? Well, it would mean breaking below this support, which suggests it's less likely, though possible, less likely, because after all, a 10% drop would only We'll put that back. We'll do this one instead. A 10% drop would only take you back to this support level that we had over here. It's not actually that big a drop in the bigger scheme of things. It'll just feel really scary. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying if it does, not anything to be worried about. What's the base case? The base case is we just project forward. That's what you always do. You project the forward. You're getting, what, 16% in another year, but let's not take that. Let's just look what happens to the end of the year. Okay, there's your base case, about another 9%. And what's your bullish case? Well, you go to the upper boundaries, obviously. Okay, and the bullish case would take you, let's go there, make sure we can draw this in. You're about 14% in the next 4 months. That's quite a rise up. But then again, that's why it's called a bullish case. What's most likely to happen? Well, if we start with pattern recognition before we move to macroeconomic news, if we start with pattern recognition, if you were to look at a chart like this and how momentum has shifted historically, it doesn't guarantee it's going to happen again, then what you would find is 3 interesting patterns. Where it is now, where it was like that in the past, and if you look at the last 3 occasions, what you find is a U-shaped long drop takes a lot longer. That's 25% drop, and it was 2 years before you were out of the underwater scenario. If instead you look at the V-shaped drops, which are these, they seem more likely. So what's more likely? 21%, that's steep, but it's more likely than a prolonged fall as long as interest rates don't rise. What does all of this mean? All of this means is we're happy with our portfolios and we're making all-time highs and we're not panicked about anything. Okay, so that's where all of that stands. So what about the macroeconomic news? What are the major things which might impact the markets and change our views on anything? Number one, rising interest rates. We're not seeing that at the moment. We don't expect it by the end of the year. Dealt with. Get rid of it. 2, oil prices. That's a supply side shock, not demand led. Therefore, any price inflation can't really be handled well by rising interest rates. Therefore, it's irrelevant. Get rid of it. Okay, yeah, it affects consumer. There's only 3 parts to the economy. Business investment, I. Consumer, C. Government, G. CGI. Okay, the consumer might suffer on that. Government, a little bit, but it's probably going to make it up on revenues, on taxing oil companies. And corporate investment, yeah, of course, higher oil prices, generally other than oil businesses, are not a good thing. Not enough to impact the economy. So again, like I said, get rid of it. So what else are we left with? AI and earnings. Well, what we're seeing from the latest data is companies are spending a lot, but they're receiving the profits back quicker than we thought. And because it's quicker than we thought, the valuations are cheaper because we expected profits to be lower than they are. So we've revalued the companies as being worth more than we thought. Okay, very simple, very simple. Just like, think of it in terms of houses, not stocks. Okay, if suddenly a house could pull more rent than you had anticipated, and you spend a lot of money refurbing it, thinking, oh my God, you spend all that money refurbing it, you're never going to get back. This house is not going to be able, nobody's going to be able to afford this rent. All of a sudden you find somebody can afford more than you thought. The house is more valuable than you ever realized. And that's what's happening with stocks at the moment. So that takes care of earnings. It's all looking positive at the moment. Get rid of it. Then there's the behavioral problem. Well, what if this momentum stops because Jeremy Grantham needs to change his nappy? Well, there's a problem with that, which is there aren't enough negative voices. Momentum can move the market lower. There will be profit taking, but I've shown you on screen, I'll show you again, where the major problems and issues lie. And within those ranges, we're not even worried. So what does that mean? It means the range of model portfolios we've created and are looking at and examining, we're happy to be holding, and we've got no reason to panic at the moment. Is there a separate story about the next big thing? Sure, there always is. We'll look for those. We'll advise clients on those. We'll talk to clients about what we think might be an interesting next big thing. Until then, that's where we are with the markets. I'll leave you with a picture of that. Email me any questions you have. All my details are at alpeshpatel.com. All right. Thank you all very much.